everybody, my name is Teresa Swan and this is my video in reaction to Doreen Virtue's video announcing or denouncing psychics and readers. Some months ago I made a video supporting Doreen Virtue because she was being attacked by Jesus lovers. Well, I love Jesus, but I mean the fundamentalist Christians who are attacking her, for what she does. And now it seems to be that she's followed them. Well, I can very easily understand why people feel let down, because people actually feel betrayed by her, which is and isn't her fault. But when you become so famous and you keep publishing so many cards and books and courses as she has done to bring in money for herself, you are asking for trouble, really, aren't you? And in a way I see her a bit like the Pied Piper, and she has led, the Pied Piper led rats and then children to, I'm not sure where. The rats were off a cliff, weren't they? And I don't know the story of the children, but people have been following her a bit like the Pied Piper. She has put herself on a pedestal, and some people have put her on a pedestal, haven't they? But she has liked the fame, she has liked all the attention, hasn't she? She's liked having a picture taken, she's liked doing all these trips around the world, staying in nice hotels, being paid for that, hasn't she? And in the last about 18 months I have kept thinking, each time a new book comes out, a new pack of cards comes out, why are there so many cards? Why? Because I have actually got quite a few of her cards. Probably got about six or seven boxes of hers, it may be more. And when I bought them, some I've liked instantly. The last two I've actually bought was the Jesus pack, and there's no book in that, and I really like that. And the past life cards, I really like those. But the other ones I have, when I've been using them, thinking, well, don't they really, there might be different pictures on them and the word is slightly different, but they are exactly the same message as in another pack of cards, you see. So I have thought, what is the point in this other than you making money, So whether that's her or that's her agent or her company she's signed to, we should have made her do that, we don't know. But she took on a lot of followers, like the Pied Piper. They believed in her, as I've liked watching her. But since I made my videos about April time, and she started to make those videos, weekly readings, much longer, I did stop watching them, because I started to listen to them when I was sort of busy, so I might be washing up or doing something, and when you walk away from your laptop and you hear, you're listening to the voice, aren't you? I realised how actually fake she sounds at times when she's saying darling and talking in that sort of soft voice, that I actually saw through that, and I thought it's very much put on. She may have had voice coaching to talk like that, mightn't she? Of course Doreen has free will to do what she wants, and she has every right to change her path, because we're not on, well, some people choose to stay on the set path, don't they? The same path, I don't. But so she's got every right to change her path, just as you and me have. But I do object, like I said, to the multiple boxes, the cards, or the multiple cards, and I have never looked. Oh, sorry, I have. I just remembered I signed up to an online course. No, I can't even remember what it was. It was 2 years ago when I lived in a different place. It's just come back into my mind. Yes, I did sign up to a course. So I'll have to find out, won't I? But also there's her husband involved in this. The man she's currently married to, Michael, I believe he's called. Yes, he's called Michael. And he, I believe, does courses. Is he going to stop doing those? She has a daughter called Melissa and a son called Charles. Well, I looked up on the internet, and their actual dad, they're not the children of the father with the name Virtue. So they have took on their mother's Virtue name, which is actually a link to, I believe, to her second or third husband. So she didn't decide to keep the first husband's surname or the second one. So it is the second or third husband, that was his surname. and those children are not that man's children, so they've took on that virtue name, maybe because he adopted them, or did they take that on when she started to become famous so that they could then be known, and the family unit that is making money become bigger, didn't it, with the Charles virtue, Melissa virtue, and there are up, I believe, other ones. One pack of cards she made, and it did make me laugh when I opened the box, and that is the Archangel Power Tarot cards. So on each picture, on each card, there is actually a member of her family or friends. One has got Richard Reeves on, who is a psychic medium, and he does flower readings, flower cards. And on other cards is actually Doreen, and then her daughter and her son and her husband, and it's quite, I suppose it's quite comical really that she put those on there, isn't it? But some people might look at them now and think, well, why are your family on there? Does that message from that pack of cards sort of show, look at this empire we've built with all of us? But you know, I just feel very sorry for the people that have put her on that pedestal and have been following her for years, and some of those people might be a bit vulnerable, you know, and they're in a bit of a low place, and they looked forward every week to her reading and like choosing her cards, and now they feel they're going to throw their cards away. I'm not going to throw my cards away. I'm not going to do that, you know, because they're cards, aren't they? It's pieces of cardboard with pictures on. And I did stop looking in the books for my oldest cards, and not the recent ones, the recent past life ones. I look in the book for what that book says, but the other ones I don't look at anymore. I used to find the book actually quite off-putting, so I look at the card, I read what's on it, but then I look at the picture and it's what it tells me, not what she says. So do that, you know, keep your cards and look at the card, and what you feel is the message from that card, if you're doing it for yourself or for someone else. And if you're doing readings for someone else, ask them to look at the card and see what they decide is what they feel is from it. The problem I now have with Doreen, of course, is that she's become what I would call one of those Christians who is going to start dictating to us. I believe there is a Jesus. I've always believed there is a Jesus. In the last 5 years I've started to think about that a lot more, and I've thought he may not be called that really. That might be a name the church here, all in the world, or the Christian Catholic Church gave him, and he might not really look like that. But there is an energy that of that person we would think of as Jesus. So that love energy, that kind energy, that sort of father sort of figure, which other people could say God, and some people believe Jesus is God. And many people that believe in aliens and you know, the different planets, and that there's people living on them and these different dimensions. A lot of those people do actually still believe in Jesus and God, which is always very reassuring to me and nice to hear that they do, because a lot of people would assume they don't. But some of these Christians, as I said in one of my previous videos, have liked to tell me regularly I'm going to hell. I've had another man, not rude at all, so you know, he's not been rude to me, but he has sent me lots of videos on where it said in the Bible that auras are false, and that psychic readings and mediums are on the path of Satan, and it's wrong, and so are crystals and so are pendulums. And my view of that is, I can see it's said supposedly a quote from the Bible, but what version of the Bible? Because it's been so updated, hasn't it? I would actually like to get my hands on a copy of the oldest Bible and see myself if that's in it, not the newer versions, because somebody could have put that in, couldn't they, like the Christians or the Catholics put it in to tell people not to do that. And in the case of Catholics, it could well be that they don't like psychics. I think it's more Christians that don't like them actually, but is it because they can see through them? So they can see through some of the lies. So Doreen may well start to now be producing videos on teachings of Jesus. Well, she's going to be reading those out of the Bible, one of the newer Bibles, I expect, the newer versions. And we know how, if we say things to people, say you say something to your mum and then she tells her friend, and then that friend tells that friend, it gets changed, doesn't it? So to me, the Bibles that have been changed through the centuries have been changed, and of course bits put in, because we do that when we're telling stories, don't we? We put other bits in. So in the case of Jesus, and I'm not saying all Christians are like this, because they're not, but the ones that start preaching are like this, and it starts to come across to me is that Jesus and God are dictators, and I don't believe they would be, because we were granted free will, weren't we? And I do not feel he would stop, Jesus or God, or if he's they're the same person, would stop us trying new things or dictate to us. You know, that starts stinking in my head of dictatorship, doesn't it? And in that way I'm a bit of a rebel, you know. My dad says I am, in a quiet way. But Christians dictating does start to comes across as it's this way or no way. This is the only way. Well, I don't like anyone doing that, because how do they know they're right then? And like I said, Jesus, the Jesus I see and I feel in my head and heart and mind and soul, is not a dictator. Why, as I said before, would we have been given free will? They want us to try new things, to learn new things. We try new things and we may have gone off them, because I have, you know, and you can go off them in a year, 2 years time, you don't do them anymore, do you? I know that all Christians are not dictators. Unfortunately, there are so many in them, like there are in other religions that are dictators, or some people would call that fundamentalists, wouldn't they? So I did start to watch the beginning of Doreen Virtue's this week's video, which is her first one. I don't believe she showed any cards in them, but I didn't watch it all. And of course she's reading out the Bible. So I don't like labels either. I don't like this, you're a Christian, you're a Catholic, you're a Muslim, you're a this, you're a that. You know, that everyone's a something else. I'm sorry, that's my mobile phone going off. You can ignore that. And this happened the last video I made. My phone went off and I can't reach it. It's over there. It's on charge. So not just Doreen, but many people feel let down by their teachers, don't they? And in most cases, actually, teachers let you down, but I don't feel that is always their fault, because like I said, we put them on pedestals, don't we? And we start to listen to every word and think they're a bit like a god. This is what happened 1,000 years ago. They thought why they thought everyone like that was a god, because they had this knowledge. But I don't feel you should follow a teacher like that, someone like her like that. You shouldn't be listening to their every word, because how do you know they're right? You're just hearing and taking in what they're saying, aren't you? You have to listen to different people and take on board what feels really right to you. But your best teacher is yourself. Every one of us has got this hidden inner wisdom that if you start to sit quietly, stop watching the news and stop watching telly, you can start to hear it. You may have dreams, you see visions, you see things in that are teaching you something. You might start to look back to a part of your life, a part of your past, and you suddenly understand it. That's your inner wisdom, and because you're shutting off some of that background noise, you know, the TVs, you can start to hear it. So be your own teacher, be your own inner teacher, and trust that wisdom, trust that sixth sense, trust that guidance. I feel that Doreen is going to have a terrible backlash from this. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't think so, but someone who puts herself in that high position and loved having all that money, didn't she? I mean, she's gone around the world, you know, and filmed all her conferences, you know, her courses and classes, and signed autographs, and you know, this has gone on for years, you know, before I knew of her. So she's made lots of money. And if you like doing that, and you have to accept that you get followers, and so if you suddenly one day change your path, there are going to be a lot of let down people and a lot of angry people, aren't there? But let that anger go, because you know that's anger is a very bad thing. Do not throw away your cards. It's up to you if you throw them away, if you feel that badly let down. Perhaps you didn't use them that much anyway, but you know, to keep them, then you haven't wasted your money, have you? But just look at them in a different way. Throw the book away if you like, and maybe scrub her name out on the box. I did hear her say that she wants her name taken off the boxes. So she's told Hay House, I heard her say this on the video, that she's told Hay House to take her name off the boxes. This is my latest box of cards, and this is past life cards. I do really like these. because I found out about this man called Brian Wise, and I bought one of his books and I progressed myself with his words. I copied them or talked them into my phone, and I've since bought his CDs. So to me, these past life cards actually come from him. So my feeling is that she probably went to him because he was so famous, getting so famous, and people. So what's on these cards is probably all from him, because he's done many years of regressing people. Started off with hypnosis, I believe, and he was a therapist, and people started to talk in foreign languages when they're under hypnosis, and so he's done much work and understands. So I would think the writings on these cards are from him. So really, she's probably encouraged him, or Hay House have, to come together with Doreen, because she's the most famous, she thinks, and put her name on them, where I'd say that he could have just made these on his own. So she liked having a name on this box, and this is not very old, this box. I've only bought this in the last year. So what she should do, of course, is give him all the money then. So any box of these sold now, she doesn't want the money, she can give it all to him, can't she? Like I said, he would have told her what each picture, so they decided on the picture. She might have decided on the pictures, but he would tell her what the meaning is for those pictures, perhaps from all his episodes of regressing people, all that he's learned and all the facts he's written down. But I don't believe they're Doreen's cards and he just put his name on them. They're his cards and she put her name on them. Maybe Hay House or whoever, is it Hay House that actually make these boxes? Maybe they said to her, him, you need her on the box, to get them to sell better because the cards are so popular. Well, I haven't looked back at her new video this week. It was on 1,000, about 260 views then. Well, normally, that was only Monday, so I suppose it's not been uploaded long then, has it? Be interesting to see how many there are now, because definitely for a few weeks she's not going to have people watching who used to watch her, is she? Some people would like to hear her talking about the Bible, but I don't like it when people keep quoting things out of the Bible. I know so much of the Bible actually makes so much sense, I know that, but I don't want someone to keep telling me. That is up to us to go and get a Bible and get the version we believe is the most truest, and live our life by very simple rules, of respecting your neighbour, being kind to one another. They are things that we should all be doing, and sometimes you need perhaps a little book with those sayings in to remind you, don't we do, even me. Especially being kind to ourselves, but it seems to me that religions are all about worshipping that God or that one at the top, isn't it? It's about worshipping them. And to me, not that you should worship yourself, it's not worshipping yourself, but you must love yourself. And to me, they always sort of exclude you, and it's all about them, isn't it? It's them. Follow them. Forget about you. Follow them. Forget about what you want. Follow that person. That one. I will have to just say something I've realised about the Catholic Church. I don't like religion. There it is. I don't. Most people don't, actually, because it is a form of dictatorship and control. But something stood out to me a few months ago. Suddenly hit me. I had this vision of a funeral I went to in a Catholic church, and of course there behind the priest is a cross, isn't it, with Jesus on, and you can buy chains, can't you, with that on? Now, that is not celebrating the life of Jesus. That church, and any church that has that as a symbol of it, if it's behind the priest or it's in the corner, it doesn't matter. That is celebrating the death of Christ. That church is celebrating the death of Christ, not the life of Christ. And I told my dad this, and my dad thought the same as me when I had the revelation. Of course it is. It is celebrating his death. Because if you want a symbol of Jesus in your church, why would you have him on the time, if this is even true, of course, the crucifixion, because that could all be made up, couldn't it? We don't know. Why would you have that part of his life? It's like if you were celebrating your mum or dad, why would you have, say, a picture of them in their coffin, or just going into the ground or into the burner? What, you wouldn't, would you? So you would have, if you've got pictures of your mum, dad, nans or granddads who've passed away, your children, you have pictures of them looking happy, don't you? You have a picture that is a representation to you of how they were, their life. A symbol, a statue of Jesus nailed to a cross is not celebrating his life, is it? So that's a revelation I had about that religion. My mum was actually brought up Catholic, excuse me, and she and my auntie left the church when I was still at junior school because of the disgusting things that they did. At the time, that was mainly about the IRA, you know, and the priests hiding IRA bombers. I don't want to get into that because, you know, we don't really know the story behind all that either, do we? But that's why they left. So I actually didn't go to Catholic school, which I could have very easily gone to, but the reason I didn't go to Catholic school was because a nun, my brother's 4 years older than me, and a nun whipped him so hard across his hand when he was 5, she split his hand wide open. Now at 5 he can't have done anything terrible, can he, to actually deserve that? And that nun was a nasty, bullying, vile creature. And then for years after, so my dad took him straight out of the school, my mum and dad, and he never went back, of course. And then for a couple of years before I was starting school, my earliest memory was of a nun walking down my driveway. I'd be out in the garden and I'd run indoors scared of this woman I could see coming down the driveway, and she used to try and persuade my, or blackmail my mum, really, push my mum into sending her to school. But my mum never was going to do that because of what they did to my brother. So I had that lucky escape then, didn't I? Because we found out terrible things about them since then. But nothing's a surprise actually to the people who to many people, is it, who have actually had goings on with the Catholic religion. So that's another reason why I don't like religion. But you must all look after yourself and let this anger go that you've got aimed at Doreen and people like her. I still keep seeing her as this Pied Piper who's been leading these people on, because she could have been lying all the way through, couldn't she? She could have been pretending she was into these cards. She just saw an avenue into it and thought, oh, I can make another packet this year and another packet next year, and I'll do this course and this and this and this and that and this and that. She says she's been given a lot of money away, which she may well have been. She could have been, couldn't she? And now they're rescuing animals, which they say they're doing, which again is bringing them large sums of money. But a lot of that was from the people who followed her because of her doing her readings. Now that is going to drop drastically, isn't it? Because a lot of the people who liked her because they liked to watch her weekly readings and watch her with the animals, didn't they? And then she's saying about her and her husband are rescuing all these every week. There's more and more animals, and a bit into that, I thought you're going to end up with so many animals you can't look after them. But that could all be a lie as well. They'll do anything, you know, to make money and get fame, these people. So don't worry about them anyway. All that matters is you look after yourself. But it's been lovely to speak to you. Goodbye.